table, and it was pretty rotted out. But there was one of the big ZW transformers, 2 handles. Looks like a football, probably maybe 25 pounds, 25 pounds. A tank, so I rebuilt it. And I fired up the train with it, it just jumped out. Yeah, that's cool. Probably got some track, Instead of buying the track, and then it says, I'll probably need some switches. I bought some switches, and then like $1,500 later, And then I built the table too. I went to a hobby shop, and they had some plans and stuff. So yeah, it goes on and on. It's cool. It's another cool hobby, and it's for young and old. And I basically got mine together for my grandniece and nephew, so they can play around with that. And they come over, and they're pretty good now, so I give them the controls and stuff. But yeah, it's big. The O gauge is quite large. HO and N gauge. Yeah, then you can fit that in a small area, little tabletop, and you have a blast with that. So back to you, Perry. W3MMR and SNG, possibly others.
M1 SNG, yeah, I don't think any people are probably like, I'm not getting in there. No way. M1 SNG W3 MMR. And then they have the they have the LGB ones. I saw those too, like LGB, and then they had American Flyer, I think, as its own like H gauge as well. So you sound like you've done this before. You've obviously been a part of the train community there. So, and how about you seeing it? I figured there had to be like people have to go from all around to go to that place because of what they have and what they offer and the service. You know what I mean? Like. They sell model rockets and stuff in there too. They amongst everything, okay? I'm waiting to check out, right? And this family's in front of me getting model rockets for their kids or whatever. These 2 older ladies behind the counter, the ladies are, well, I don't know. They're like, do you have everything you need? And the ladies, people who are buying, well, I don't know. And they're like, okay, well, you need this. You need this type of engine. Let me get you this size. Oh, wait, this one's not going to fit. This is the right one for this engine. It'll work better. Like, yeah, they're experts, on everything there too, which was super, super cool. So yeah, like I could see a lot of people coming from all the way around. Seeing those advertisements in the magazine there, it's so cool. And I feel fortunate to live 10 minutes from there too, to live 10 minutes from a place like that. Excuse me. Yeah, N-Gage is extremely tiny. Like I went on, I was looking on YouTube about the different gauge sizes and trying to see if I could judge how big they were to see how much room I have here really, and it doesn't do it justice until you go and see it in person how small N-Gage really is, and like the little tracks and the tracks, it's like you take a lined piece of paper, you know what I mean, Glennie? It's like each track is a line. I mean, that's how smally spaced them things are, man. But HO seems like the next size up, and like it would be a perfect size. Oh boy, sorry, I can't stop yawning. Craig, KB3RHR got an N-Gage set, and they set it up in a shack. I do know that. I haven't seen it. But I heard he did get an N-Gage set up there in his shack. And my dad yesterday was like, man, you could, if you really wanted to, man, you could like make the trains go around your radios and stuff. Like the N-Gage, it's so small, you could really make it real personable. Or you could have something that's so big where you could put it outside and ride around on it. What's that, like an ODO gauge or whatever? The big ones. I know you can't ride on it, but the ones you can have outside. Because my uncle, Daryl, my dad was telling me this yesterday, he used to, and I don't remember this. This is back when I was really, really, really young, 1, 2 years old. My uncle had a pool and a hot tub outside, and the hot tub was sitting up in his deck. And he used to have a train set running around the outside of his deck. That would go around the hot tub there. So, but that's obviously not anymore. But I wish I would have been old enough to remember that, man, and to check that out. That would have been pretty cool. So, got to get transformers, got to get everything, man. They had all different types of transformers there yesterday. Big ones, little ones. Ones with big handles on them, big old Lionel L on it and stuff. Yeah, sky's the limit, just like any other hobby, huh, Glenn? Back to you, N1SNG. Hopefully I'm still holding up okay. You're doing just fine, man. You're a good 30 over S9 with an S8 noise floor here, so you're doing just fine, Glenn. N1SNG, hopefully maybe others, W3MMR.
Okay, W3MMR, N1SNG. Yeah, thanks, Barry, for the report there. Appreciate it. And, there's a science to everything. Nicky KG2IR is out on Long Island. He's got quite the extensive setup there. I mean, to scale. Mine's not to scale. I've got, I used to go to the yard sales and find the little cars and things, to put out there. Instead of kids, Of course, after a while you become a kid again, so. But in any case, those guys are great. That's how it was back in the day. If you went into a radio shop, right? Guy would come out, and his dad with his son, and he's wanted to get that first radio, and he got his license in his hand, and just the thrill. But to actually see the setups, like a showroom, it just, leave it to the imagination, man. It's like Walt Disney World. And the detail, what goes into it, and it's a hobby. There used to be hobby shops all over this area here. You walk into a hobby shop, man, they had the like you were saying, the rockets and trains. If you're into building models, plastic models, little Revels, and what a blast! My uncle had a hobby shop down in Providence, and the big box stores put him out of business. But he built a slot car track. He had a slot car track in there. It was probably 30 feet long, maybe 10 or 12 feet wide. And I think there was 5 or 6 lanes on it. And that was big, man. I mean, the guys used to come in and they used to throw money on the track. I mean, it was big time. And then that was kind of short-lived. But he had to sell the place. He used to fly remote control airplanes back in the in the 40s and 50s. This guy, he was into it. Won a lot of trophies and stuff. But anyway, so he was out of work. He takes a job at a paint shop, just maybe about 10 miles from here. And they called it the color shop. So he was working there for a while, and he's looking around, and he's like, I got some old trains. I'm just going to bring them in and put them up as a display, So he put up a display right along near the ceiling, and it wasn't operational. It was just a track with the trains on it. So people started coming in, and they really took a liking to that. They said, "Well, that's really cool." Then they started asking if they, sold trains. Of course, my uncle, he's like, "Well, we can get them," And that whole place turned into a hobby shop. To this day, it's still there. And you go in, and it's old school. You've got an upstairs, and it's nothing like your Smiths, by no means. But he hangs in there. He's got a local following and all that. And I was talking to the owner one day, and I told him my uncle had worked there. He says, "Oh, Jesus, I remember Bert," and he started going on. I don't think I could get a word in, but he really, he was all excited about that. And then he was telling me that, not to hog the frequency here, but Michael Jackson was playing down at the Providence Civic Center. So somehow or another, he shows up at the hobby shop, you know, with his goons and all that. So anyway, he goes in and he buys a few things, and then they're on their way, you know. So he got a real thrill out of that. I think he's got the receipt hanging up on the wall or something with Michael Jackson's signature on it. And then one time, Ace Frehley, remember? What the hell was the name of that band? Yes. Yeah, he came in and bought a bunch of stuff. So it was kind of like a little celebrity thing going on there. But anyway, yeah, cool stuff. You know, you go into the candy store, you know, years ago, I mean, before the big box stores, there was all specialty stores. You know, if you wanted to go in the sporting goods store, they had everything from hockey sticks to guns and ammo. You know, it was kind of cool era back then. And yeah, you mentioned about the hot tub there with the train going around and all that. It reminded me of I think they still have them. Down the road from here, there's a Wickford Lumber Company, and they had around the whole inside of the building, you know, where they sold power tools and stuff, they had a railroad track. And it would go around, then it would switch, and then it would kind of cut across and all that. And you could actually rent signage, you know, to put on the cars, like for your business, you know, Jack's Construction or whatever. You know, you can rent a space on the little cars, because as soon as you walk in, you can hear them, and then the whistle goes off and everything. All right, enough of that. I got to come up with some air. W3MMR N1SNG.
You crack me up, Glenn. I love it. N1SNG, W3MMR. Not sure where to start. Speaking of autographs, that's one thing I don't have, really any of, is autographs. Like, you know, a guy like me who's super into baseball and into sports and stuff, you would think that I would have some kind of autograph, right? I have one, and another one which I don't know what it is. I went to a Phillies game, oh God, what was it? I don't know, a year ago or so, 2 years ago, and it was like an alumni day, right? And we got a buddy of mine gave me tickets, they were like right behind home plate and everything, and we got to go in the Diamond Club and all this stuff, and in the alumni day in the Diamond Club, they had a bunch of the alumni from the 2009 Phillies like doing autographs and stuff. So I said, what the hell, I'll stop and get an autograph. So I got 2 autographs from 2 of the former Phillies pitchers. So, which are that team, 2008-2009 team was like my team growing up, you know what I mean? Like, that was like back when I was in my early 20s, you know, like that was like my heyday. So, that's when, and they won the World Series in 2008. They were on the World Series winning team, so it was cool to get their autograph. But, and I have another autograph on a Flyers hockey hat that, I don't know, the hat was given to me and I can't read it. I can't read signature real well, so... Oh, man. Anyway, yeah, man, I think... Hold on a second here. Yeah, it's a little wet outside. My match is changing a little bit here, Glenn. Band's still holding up. You're doing just fine. Here, I got to get back on this Ranger, man. I don't know what's wrong with it. I really don't. I've tried everything on this Ranger, man. It goes haywire when you put the 12AU7 tube in the thing. You take the tube out, everything's fine. You put it in, okay, you key the radio up. You see an oscillation on the scope, like the scope pattern, you know, is supposed to be a nice flat line, you know, thick flat line across the scope. Well, if you look at the top and the bottom, it looks like waves in the ocean, you know. Now, not necessarily like a hum, because they're like kind of got a sharpness to it. It's kind of weird, man. But anyway... And like if you turn the audio gain pot up, it starts to make this fluttering sound inside the low voltage choke or the high voltage choke. You take the tube out, it doesn't do it. Okay? You put the tube back in, take the 12AX7 out, that's before it. It does it. Okay? You take the tube out, okay, you leave the modulators in, it still does. You take the modulators out and leave the 12AU7 in, and it stops. So it's something with that from the 12AU7 on. I check voltages on everything. I check resistances on everything. I check every component on the 12AU7 on that tube socket. I check the resistance of the driver transformer. I replace the driver transformer. I replace the low voltage choke. I check the resistance in the low voltage choke that I replaced. Replaced the mod transformer and rechecked the resistances on the mod transformer I replaced. I did it, and I was like, well, I don't know. I'm out of options here, so it's easy enough to change. Let me change it. Still doesn't work. So, and this all happened after I blew up that shunt resistor. The shunt resistor for the grid current grenaded, caused the meter switch to light on fire, literally light on fire, and blew up the meter. And after replacing all that, now I have this issue. So, and what's weird is, Glenn, I have that switch on the plug on the back. You know, Timmy recommends, well, it doesn't recommend it, but it's one way of lowering the power where you move the jumpers, you know, from like 2 to 6 to 2 to 4, so it runs the high voltage off the low voltage supply. Anyway, when I switch to that, the problem gets better. Okay, I can have that 12AU7 in there, and the problem gets better. Okay, it's still there a little bit, but that lower voltage, like my voice peaks are okay. If I have it in, you know, when it's having this problem, my voice peaks are all squared off and everything. When I try to modulate, like I can actually modulate with it in quote-unquote low power mode, but so I've been trying to scan the schematic, trying to see what the difference is between the two and why it would do that, and it just doesn't make any sense. There's no reason why it would do this. I've replaced every tube. I've tested tubes. It's just, at this point, you know, the thing puts out good 50 watts. Okay, the mod current looks okay. Good idling mod current, plate current, all the currents look good. Like at this point, I'm just like, I just want to try to externally modulate the thing and be done with it, because I'm just tired of bashing my head against the wall with it. But I've asked Timmy, he doesn't know. Timmy's like out of options with it. I'm sure if he had it in front of him, he could fix it, but I'm too stubborn to go ask my dad for help and go bring it over there. So that's where I'm at. N1SNG W3 MMR with my old buzzard for the morning.
Hey, there's Charlie. N1XCW. Charlie. Mission there. Good copy. And then pass it back to N1SNG. Go ahead, Charlie.
All that noise drove me upstairs to get my coffee, and I came back with my coffee and my muffin, and I've been sitting here listening. Finished my coffee, finished my muffin, and I figured I'd jump in and make a couple of comments. One is, Glenn, have you ever been to what's that pizza restaurant? I think it's Famous Pizza on Route 116 in Scituate. They have a train layout up on the wall around the entire restaurant with the big cars. They're, the cars are a foot or better in length, and they turn it on and it goes around and around the restaurant, the whistle blowing and all. And, did Timmy warn you about going into CW with that mode, with that modification? Because when I told him that mod had been done to this transmitter, he told me that he has a better mod now, and he put it into CW mode. You can launch something. Just curious if he told you about that. And so I don't worry about it. I don't have to worry about inadvertently CW because I don't do CW. My biggest error I make is when I go to turn it off. I grab the wrong switch and I put it in crystal 2. And then I get to the door and look back and the lights are still on and I know I shut it off. And I walk back, damn, I did that again. because you're so used to going to the bottom switch for the zeroing. You know, when you're zero beating somebody, you're so used to going to that switch that when you go to turn it off at night, you inadvertently grab the wrong switch. And I'm assuming you guys moved up to 78 because that's where I zero beated you. I'm hoping you did. Otherwise, it's going to get the evil powers going again. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it was supposed to be going to you, Glenn. Over to you, Glenn. N1SCG, N1HZW.
Yeah, okay, Charlie. Yeah, I got a good copy on you. Yep. Because I got the R398 kind of nuded here, but it's working okay. Definitely narrowed down. No problem at all. And, yeah, that's a G gauge. That's G gauge. They're awesome. Those are the ones that, you know, people put outside. There's a guy about maybe 5 miles from here. He's got his whole yard is it's like live steam. He's got a small little car that you can sit on and you know, drive around. He's got cars, you know, for small kids. And he's got the crossing guards. You know, the bell goes off and the arm comes down, and at the end of his driveway, and he's got bridges in there. He's got a little stream that runs through his property. He's got a little train bridge that goes over that, a little trestle. Yeah, cool stuff. Cool stuff, man. You know, it's like being a kid again. Yep. But, yeah, Perry, on the Ranger, when I got mine, it was a mess. I mean, it was, if I paid $40 for it, it was full of broken glass. All the tubes were broken. And basically, it looked like it had been thrown around. So, first AM transmitter, right? So I took that whole thing apart. Literally took it apart. I ordered the assembly manuals and all on it, and I went through every component. I checked soldered joints. There was bad solder joints. There was a few, you know, like the wire legs on the capacitors that were touching, you know, other components in there. It was just a freaking mess. And, you know, even in the bypass capacitors, the plug in the back, I didn't touch anything. I brought it right back to stock. Right back to stock. Took the meter apart. I went into the meter, and there was a dead spider in it. Don't ask me how it got there. It must have been one hanging down on the production line or something over at Simpson. But in any case, you know, light bulbs, wires, checked every solder joint, ran every wire through the schematic, and, you know, that day came when I had to turn it on, you know, and it just, you know, I gave it about an hour, just standing, and it did fire up into a dummy load. So I had that running before I even had my license to operate. But man, I'll tell you, it was like I couldn't give up on it. I had to go right through the whole thing. Even some of the pots, I replaced the VFO. I took the whole VFO apart. All new tubes, capacitors, you know, where needed. A lot of the items in there were in very, very good condition, so I didn't really fuss with them. But that sounds interesting. It's you know, I'm just wondering if before the modification that you did, it worked okay, and then something happened after the modification. Something in the chain failed, or you know. But anyway. It's a great transmitter. Hopefully you can get that going, but you know, like everything else, it takes a lot of patience with when you get into problems like that. it's like nobody knows how to. There's no prescription you take to fix it. It's like it's up to you. And to add another story to the cookbook for sure. N1 W3MMR N1 SNG.
N1 SNG W3MMR. Well, real quick, Charlie, about that CW, switching it to CW, I know about that. I don't run this transmitter like that. I run it at full power. The only reason I made that modification, I did that when I first got the Ranger, before I do what I do now, was just to see what kind of carrier power I would get out with it. Okay. And plus, I don't like it because at least you still have full high voltage on the modulators. So if you overmodulate, you can get 150, 180% out of that thing with it in that low power mode like that. So, you can really, if you're not easy on the audio, you can really overmodulate and and give people hell up and down the bands. But I don't use, like I said, I don't use that mod. It's just still in the back octal plug. I just have a switch back there just because I've never put it, never took it out, okay? But I use attenuation like you do, Glenn. I use a 250 watt 60B attenuator from Henry Radio. And in a case, heat sink, all that, it gets me about 14 watts of carrier. And 15 watts of carrier, and it drives my amplifier perfect. That's the way I lower my power with the Ranger. But so if I was you guys, I would just take that mod and throw it out, because that has nothing to do with what's going on right now, unfortunately. Because I didn't do it. It's not like I did a mod, then all of a sudden this is what happened. The only thing I've ever did to this thing, I did Timmy's audio mods to it, okay, and took a lot of them off. And then all I did was fatten up the coupling caps on the 12AX7, B plus cap, you know what I mean? Grid leak resistor, all the, got rid of a couple capacitors, changed C56, got rid of C52, or was it vice versa? I can't remember. And it was running it great for a while. I think it was running fantastic for a couple months. And then all of a sudden, I went to key up one night and keyed the thing up. And mind you, it has push to talk, and it has one of those push to talk boards from Terry out in Ohio or Michigan, wherever he's from, Indiana, and which replaces the low voltage solid state rectifier and goes in its spot. It's solid state rectifier, and it adds push to talk. And it has solid state high voltage supply in it as well. But anyway, when I went to go key the rig, I grabbed the stalk of the D104, and the second it keyed up, bang, pow, the shunt resistor went grenaded. And then I guess it shorted, and then all of a sudden, that was the meter switch on fire. And then all of a sudden, poof, pop, then the slow blow fuse popped. And I said, oh boy. Oh boy. So that's when I went in there and saw what happened, and then, I replaced the meter switch and the shunt resistor, and all was fine. It was still, I replaced the meter and the shunt resistor and the meter switch, and that's when I noticed this problem now that I have. And in the meter, I replaced the meter as well. Those were the three things that I knew were busted from that incident. So I replaced those, and now turn the thing on, it's okay. Switch it to any position, on the meter switch, it's fine. All the meters, the meter works in every position: buffer, oscillator, peak, or play current, grid current, end mod current, everything works. Radio puts out a good 50 watts of carrier. But like I said, though, it's got that. If that 12AU7 is in the radio, that's when I have this crazy oscillation problem. When I key it up, you can see it. And if I go to modulate, I have no positive peaks. They square off. The positive peaks square off completely. And if this is why I mentioned this low power mode, because if I switch it over to that, the only reason I did it was just to see what would happen. It's like in that lower voltage, it has more headroom, you know what I mean? So I can modulate, and I have good positive peaks, because, I don't know, like when you go to modulate, your voltage will double. That voltage swing will double. And I'm wondering with whatever's in high voltage, okay, when it's I guess maybe it's running out of voltage or something. I don't know. I had a good high voltage coming out of the high voltage transformer. Unless it's breaking down under load. The only thing I really haven't replaced is the high voltage transformer in the thing, like seriously. But I got good high voltage. I got all the voltages I need, got all the resistances I'm supposed to have. But I don't know. And I don't have something that's strong enough to drive the modulator tubes directly. I tried putting something together here to drive the modulators directly through like pin 6 of the 12AU7 through the driver transformer and into the modulators, but I just don't have enough power to do that. So that's my other old buzzer for this morning. Sorry about that. Back out to you, Charlie. And that's my situation. M1XZW, W3MMR.
W3MMR with N1SNG. This is N1XZW. Yeah, so the way I run it, Perry, do you consider it to be overmodulated? Because it's usually clocked that says it's high, and I turn it down, and then you say, no, you got to turn it back up. I run mine with the modulation at about 5. The audio's at 5. I have found that tuning it per the manual, I now use some of the coupling. The auxiliary is on 2, I think. Before flying it by the seat of my pants, I never used that. It seemed like it didn't give me anything, but tuning it per the manual, which I finally downloaded a couple weeks ago. Now I got it spot on now. The grid is 2.5. The plate's 130 mils, and then I switch it to low power, because low power, the plate meter doesn't work in low power with that mod. So set it all up in low power, and then in high power, and then switch it to low power. And yeah, the antenna's wet, Perry. I had the same thing this morning when I was talking to Jim earlier on. The SWR got up just a tiny bit, which didn't concern me, but it caused my plate current on my amplifier to run right at the bitter edge of what they say it can run. Yeah, that was a lot of stuff I did last week or the week before. I downloaded the manual for the amplifier, too, and learned how to use it properly. You do this stuff, and you do it, and after a while it becomes second nature to you, and you just don't pay attention to anything. And I never had the manual for the 811, and I ran that for years without blowing it up. The tubes finally went soft on it last spring, and I put this amp in line, and it's almost the same power as the 811, just doing it differently. Let me see where this has gotten to be. Yeah, we're safe, no problem at all. The mils on this amplifier, they want you to stay below 0.6, and when you dip the plate, it's got to come below 0.6, and it usually is down around 0.5, but with this rain this morning, it was at 0.6. So I ran for a while just the range of power, and Jim was having a hard time hearing me, so I switched it all back. High banders came in. Somebody actually asked if the frequency was in use and was told that it was in use, but they ignored it, and Laura started talking. I guess Jim got a little ignorant back at him, so what are you going to do? They're still here. I hear them. They're, making comments. They commented something about when you were talking about your meter switch exploding, and they're listening. But, if they're listening, maybe they hear me say, gentlemen's agreements require gentlemen. Anyway, I'm huge. N1XZW.
Real quick. I just want to let you know, Charlie, I think your audio sounds great. I like it where you keep it. I just want to reiterate what I meant by that. Like you can turn it up and like really, really turn it up. You know what I mean? But with it in the low power mode. But the way you have it, I think is perfect. Over to you, Glenn.
Yeah, you know, they're all different, you know, depending on your line voltage going in. Like I said, my Ranger's all stock here. And I run, you know, on the grid I run, well actually, the way it's set up right now, it's going through an attenuator. That attenuator takes the output of the Ranger and drops it down at 10 watts. We'll just use 10 watts. And, you know, my audio is at number 2. My audio is at number 2. My coupling is number 7. The auxiliary coupling is on 3. And the drive is on 2. You know, my grid drive itself is on 5. Or, you know, it's or 50, whatever side of the dial you want to use. But that's on 5. And if I go to my plate right now, my plate's at, let me see, 50, it's 100, 80. So it's at 80 right now. That's where it sits to produce, you know, to run through the attenuator. You know, and on the dials, you know, the buffer dial is about 75, and the final's about, you know, 55 on the dial there. But yeah, that's strange. That's sounds like something's I don't know, going into saturation maybe. I don't know. A little bit beyond me, but like I said, you know, I brought everything right back to stock. And you know, I don't know if you have a kit, if yours is a kit or if it was factory wired. That's why when I got this thing, I was like, you know, I'm glad it's just the way it is. It wasn't modified or anything. It was just a hunk of junk, the ugly duckling Ranger. And of course, it needed a modulation transformer. You know, I run those 16, 14s in there, metal tubes. But yeah, you'll get it. I mean, you know, I don't know what to say as far as you know, should you bring it right back to dead stock, or do you think it's beyond that, where it's you know, it's just figuring out where the component failure is, or there's something going on, you know, with say a wire wound resistor. Mine's all stock, so I'm just talking, you know, about, you know, what's inside it. So anyway, there's enough guys out there that have Rangers or have had them, and you should be able to, you know, get more information. And on your tubes, I don't know if you've done multiple tube, you know, placements in there. You know, say you got 3 or 4 12AX7s, and you know, you've been running it like that, or you just have one you're dealing with, or so on and so on. But yeah, it is quite interesting. You know, belly up. You know, go look everywhere for a piece of solder that's just dangling on something else, and you know, I'll tell you, I probably have at least 200 hours into this Ranger. I mean, it was like an archaeological thing to me. You know, today it probably somebody got in there with a soldering iron. I think they used for gutters back in the day. I mean, it was wires that were melted, and you know, there was a lot of bare spots and things that were hidden. I don't know, man. I think you'll get it. It'll go down in the what if book. That's for sure. So anyway, I think it's going to go over to Charlie, and yeah, good signal, Charlie. And the noise level and all, it's not a bad signal. I've been thinking on taking my antenna, my 75-meter antenna, and rotating it. It's actually broadside to the power lines. I want to turn it 90 degrees to see if that makes a difference, in that receive, the interference that I'm getting. And until these knuckleheads show up, I got to try to get the best out of the antenna position, and maybe even move the antenna back into the woods or something. Kind of in survival mode here. W3MMR, M1SNG, or M1XCW.
Yeah, let me grab it here. Well, I sent you that email, Glenn, yesterday morning. I don't know if you got it. And I sent you one this morning with the pictures of the Impala, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I think that's it's going to be a lot of wasted work trying to rotate it. I think it's definitely, if it's power line noise, I think it's going to still be there, man. This stuff is so strong. Like, there's a power line over by me. I know where it is. I know the pole and everything. And that's off the literally that would be off the broadside of mine. And when that power line noise comes in, dude, that thing starts arcing. Then it's just constant for hours, and then all of a sudden, to fade away. I've noticed that when it's quieter, much quieter when it's raining. The noise doesn't seem to be there when it's raining outside, I guess because it fills up that connection, makes that connection. But then sometimes when it's dry, first thing in the morning, like when the dew starts to accumulate, it'll start up a little bit, then go away once that dew dries up, and then it'll come and go. So yeah, man, they make all the tools. I sent all that stuff in the email, all different links to different RF, different noise finders and stuff like that, and all the couple different videos there on how to track it down and where to and do it, all that stuff, man. Because I don't know, Glenn. I don't think moving your antenna is gonna do much. I think it's just, and I don't think it's gonna go away, unfortunately, either. So, well, hopefully you get it, man. Hopefully you get it squared away there. You got all the resources to do it. That's for sure. It's just hopefully it goes away. And Charlie, yeah, man, I think, but both your guys' Rangers sound good. They sound very, very similar. Both of your guys' Rangers, very, very punchy. They sound like Rangers. They sound like a Johnson Ranger with a D104. Well above these guys that are below us. They're just rambling on. They're listening to our QSO more than they're paying attention to theirs. So, which is fine with me. We always have an audience. And if they want to actually see what they're doing, hey guys, go to YouTube. This is for the QRMers. Go to YouTube and search the AM window, and you'll see I'm live streaming right now, and you'll see that I can't even hear you at all. So then you guys can see that you're actually not really not doing anything. It's just worthless. So you guys might as well move down the band and continue your QSO, because you're just wasting your morning. It's literally all you're doing is wasting your morning. And yeah, Charlie, Jim sounded like me this morning. Jim was flying off the handle like I do. I turned on the radio. I said, where am I at? Am I here, or I'm already on the air? And I was the one trying to play moderator this morning. I'm usually the one that's yelling and screaming, man. At least I'm free to admit that, though. I'll fly off the handle, and it's definitely a character flaw, but hey, what can you do, man? None of us are perfect. It's amateur radio, right, Glenn? That's what we call it, amateur radio. And yeah, so that's a story on that. I'll keep it moving, man. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with it, Glenn. Literally, I'm gonna pull out the high voltage transformer and put in another one, because I have another one. I've tried 3 or 4 different 12AX7s, a couple 12AU7s, multiples of every tube. I even went so far as because I have 3 parts Rangers. Pulled every single tube out of those. Went over to my dad's last week and tested about 30 tubes just to see what I had, and make sure that I was replacing them with at least kind of known good ones there. So Who knows, Glenn, but it takes a lot of patience, Charlie. A lot of patience, man, that I have to, like, beat into myself because I'm not good at being patient. N1XZW with N1SNG, W3MMR.
W3MMR, N1XZW, SNG. Yeah, I can still need Glenn, because that's the weak point here. He's too close, I'm too close. I don't take them out of the box until something breaks, and then I just pray that I can poke and probe and figure out what went wrong, which was the case with the Godsip. I'm sitting here talking one day, and smoke starts rolling out of it, and the fuse blows, and I'm off the air, and I'm saying, wow, I wonder what happened. And I pulled it out of the box and looked it all over and looked it all over. I got one resistor under the final amplifier tube that's a little blackened, and I got two resistors on top of the tube that are parallel that were extremely blackened. I couldn't even identify them. So I went online and I downloaded the manual, figured out what the resistors were. Couldn't come up with the same resistors, but did a little clarifying and concluded that one resistor of twice the wattage that would equal the resistance would probably work. And I happen to have one of those. So I put it in, and I took that resistor under the tube, and the voltage didn't match what the schematic said it was. So I found one of the proper value, and I put it in. Thinking that this may have all happened because of a short in the final amplifier tube, I slapped one of my spares in there, and I put it back together, and lo and behold, it didn't blow the fuse, it didn't make any smoke, and it was transmitting again. And that's during that time that I had no radio on the air is when I decided to hook the Ranger up and start using the Ranger. So when I was all done and I had the other one and it was functioning, I decided to move that upstairs to my upstairs radio room where I could, it's not much power compared to running the amplifier, but at least it makes a good listening station. So I've got that one kind of hooked up to my lower antenna. If I want to, I have a switch down here that I can switch this antenna up there and get on the high antenna with it. But it's still lame, because my high antenna is not that great anyway. So it does work, though. I've talked on it. It's not smoking. So whatever the repair I did was, it worked. If somebody came in and said, oh, that's such and such a resistor, I'd have to say, all right, because I don't know. I'm not a Timmy by no means. Anyway, over to you, Glenn. N1SNG, N1XZW.
Did Charlie turn it over to me?
Yeah, go ahead, Glenn.
Okay, thanks, Perry. Yeah. The Johnson Ranger. Yep, passage to ham radio. If you can fix one, you get your license, right? All right. Yeah, so anyway, the tube testing and all that, I've gone all through that, and, you get a mystery tube or something, and I never throw tubes away. I always hang on to them because, depending on I got an old Heath kit. It's I think it's a TTA tube tester, and it's a beautiful tube tester. And I got it at a yard sale. Perry, I pulled up to this guy's house, right? His driveway was probably like 50 feet long, and on all sides of the driveway he had all old wooden radios, and then the other side was all tubes. in like Coca-Cola wooden crates, just thousands of tubes. And I'm like, oh, I don't even have a HF license or anything, but I got like 2 meter gigs and all that, and I'm like getting in the AM radio, and I see the tube tester, and I'm like, you know, it would be something that I'd sell when I go up to Nearfest or whatever, you know. So I paid $20 for it. And it was like brand new, had the manuals with it and everything. And that's all I had on me was like $20, and I'm looking up and down these, and like the tubes, and you know, if I had only known then, you know. But in any case, I got quite a few, and then over the years picking up tube caddies and stuff, you know. But anything that I need for the rigs here, you know, up to the 400 series, you know, I'm in pretty good shape. 811s, 811As, and so on. 813s. Part 13 stuff, but yeah. So it's just went upstairs, grabbed another cup of coffee. It's still kind of dreary out here, but yeah, the antenna is just going to be a crapshoot. They're just experimenting around. It's easy enough. All I got to do is kind of like you know, loosen up the uphole for the antenna, drop it, loosen up the ends, and just kind of swing them around. And just to see what happens, you know, if there's any improvement. And who knows, it might get worse. But, you know, that leg of the antenna on that, on my 60-meter antenna is only about 20 feet from the telephone pole. The 160, that one there is probably, I'd say 40 feet. Because I'm really close to the lines. And then my 75 meter is in the back. That's about 100 feet from the pole. And most of that coax goes underground. But in any case, we'll see. You know, right now I don't even have a really good clue on what's going on. The way that noise is, 24/7s, you know, just that whining noise. It's like somebody turned something on, and you know, you have people buy these solar panels for their homes. You know, they should just outlaw that and make it for just solar farms. You know, you got to do the wind farms. Just do these solar farms. We have them around here. We have, you know, like, I think there's one about 15, 20 miles from here. I think it's about 50 acres of just solar panels. I don't know the actual count, but you know, that's where they belong. You know, everybody's got this stuff on their houses. If something goes wrong, there's ice damage up there, your roof starts leaking, and then the payouts aren't big at all with that stuff. I mean, your power goes out. Solar panels isn't going to supply you with any power. There's a few guys that have done their homework with it, and I think at the end of the month or something, they end up with like a $20 savings or something. But I wouldn't want to have panels on my roof, radio or no radios. I don't know. I think they're ugly. But if you drove around my neighborhood, Perry, and you saw all the wires hanging down, all the cuts from the cable company, the trees are actually growing underneath the wires and lifting them up. It's infrastructure failure. So I'm kind of hoping there's something in that neck of the woods. But anyway, if not, yeah, I'll just run more power. Out here, 100 watts on the tabletop. That's enough to satisfy things. So with that, get over to you, Perry, and yeah, go down all the trains and all that. And you show your kid all that stuff, and that's great. You know, expose him to a little bit of the old old school hobbies and new school. But anyway, over to you, Perry. W3MMR, I1SNG.
Yeah, I1SNG, W3MMR. Hold on a second here. Let me, Alright, those guys aren't up on 85 anymore. I got a message from somebody who was up on 85. They were cracking up on what the guys are down there just whining away, and we're just having our QSO like no, there's no issue, man. So I got a nice comment saying "way to go" from a fellow AMer. So, and I narrowed it up a little bit. I didn't want to. I know Dan UMU and Kevin W9FMC were up there, so I didn't want to try to make sure I wasn't going up into passband too much. But now I can widen back up. Anyway, what do we got here? Number one, it's sleeting here. We are having winter precipitation at the moment. I can hear it banging against the windows and the front door. I thought someone was scratching at my door, like a cat or something, but I opened the door and I got smacked in the face by a piece of sleet. I opened the door right in the nose, man. Anyway, so a little wintry here this morning. Solar panels, Glenn. I know they used to be a lot louder than they are now. Actually, my dad's he doesn't have solar panels himself, but his neighbor to the left and his neighbor to the right both have them. But he lives in the country, and they're not like where we live, Glenn. Like, your neighborhood is not as close as mine with these houses, but you still have houses you have houses in your neighborhood, and like I said, the solar panels are a little bit further away than I would have, but they're dead quiet. I mean, dead quiet. He said when they got them, he said he saw no noise difference at all, no any type of noises anywhere on any band that he could notice. So I think they've done a lot of work with the inverters and quieting them down and making them a little more RFI compliant. But that's not to say that there's not still some out there that are super loud. And Glenn, I'd be really interested if you get around to it and remember one day, take a recording if you can with your phone and like a video and send it to me on email. I want to hear what the sounds like, man, because I've had a lot of different noises here, man, and I've been able to pinpoint a lot of them and figure out what they are. So I might be able to, maybe it's not power line noise. Maybe like you said, it might be something from a solar panel or a neighbor. And can you imagine, man, if it's something like if you're able to track it down to a neighbor's house, all you gotta do is walk up to the door, put a note on it. Hey, this is your neighbor. I'm into ham radio, and I just wanted to let you know that you might have a problem with a piece of gear that's in your house that's causing. I picked up the interference at my place. That's what I did with both of my neighbors. They opened their doors. They were super cool. Yeah, come on in. Boom, and within 5 minutes, the problem was fixed. And all I had to do was just ask them, and I'm all nervous, like, nah, I don't want it, I'm just going to put it off, it'll be okay, it'll go away. And then I just decided to put a note on their door one day, and a couple days later, everything was, when they called me, I walked right in, and boom, things were resolved. Now, the one, I did have to buy her a television, Glenn, but the other one, I just put ferrites on a power supply, and that was taken care of. So, man, I just hope it gets taken care of for you, and I just hope you're able to take care of it and figure it out, whichever way you may do it. So anyway, what else we got here? Yeah, again, real good on the train stuff. Charlie, are you in it? You ever mess with trains or anything like that? Train sets? 'Cause I know obviously your hobbies are your animals and stuff in the fish tank and your outdoor fish and everything in between, but I wonder if you were ever into trains or anything like that. And I wonder if you guys are getting this weather up there that we're getting down here. Chilly, 17-mile-an-hour winds, and a little bit of mixture and precipitation here. N1S or N1XEW. I'll stick in here for one more round, guys, and I'm going to go start making another cup of coffee. This is W3MMR.
Turn back up.
W3MMR, N1XEW.
Yeah, sounds good. What about me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, Terry, when I was a teenager.
Good. I'm glad.
My brother and I had our Chevrolet out. We had a 5-foot table in the basement. a firecracker. Yeah, this is in the house. We used to take a firecracker and wrap the wick in
Yeah, they can't. They don't have any AM signal, so they don't want to start a roll, you know what I mean?
Electricity would go through the steel wool and it would sparkle. And at a point, it would look
You guys still aren't getting over them. Go look at the live stream. You aren't getting over them.
off of the track.
Yeah.
In the house.
Yeah, when you first came here, you were a little pissed, but you'd be all right.
My parents would come home later in the afternoon. What's that smell of smoke? Oh, nothing. Nothing. Just electric trains, Mom.
Yeah.
We used to have a good time. But, yeah, we were like that. Anyway,
Yeah, we're looking at...
good luck on that turning the antenna.
Is it legal to do that with your mom?
I know the antenna, I don't know. You never know. You may not be able to hear anybody
Well,
but
I'm
me.
looking in her window, and I don't think that's legal.
My signal come up and the rest of the world go down. Then we know with my luck. You'll know me completely out, and then you
Yeah,
won't
I'm a
be able to
little
hear me.
wider on AM. I can see that right now.
You never know, you might get lucky. A friend of mine had the same problems with the high voltage arcing. And he said his used to bother him when it was dry.
I don't think that's legal.
When it would rain and moisture would get into those connections, they would stop arcing because they would have a better connection. And then as soon as it dried out again, the buzz would come back. And it was the pole right out in front of his house. The electric company came in, and they replaced all the insulators, and bang, the noise was gone. And he suffered with that problem for quite a while before he finally got them to resolve it. But when they finally came out, and he had done some research, and he kind of pointed at the pole and says, I think it's right here on this pole. And they took their noise sniffing device and pointed and said, yeah, there is something going on up there. And they got up on the bucket and sniffed it out and said, yeah, this is definitely arcing. And they went to work and sent a crew out, replaced all the insulators on that pole, and that was the end of it. Anyway, I think that's addressing the conversation as well as I can. N1SNG, N1XZW.
Yeah, okay, Charlie. Yeah, good on the firecrackers on the train set there. Yeah, we used to put the hamsters on the flat cars in Skippy peanut butter jars, you know, with the holes in the top. And we used to tape them to the cars, and they would drive around, along with all the other things that we had as kids. And I got video to prove it, too. Yeah, they used to drive the Tonka trucks and all, and cassettes. Having fun as a kid, you know. Raising pigeons and rabbits, iguanas. Yeah, we were pretty lucky back in the day. But, anyway, I'm going to take a walk, and we're going to go upstairs. We got some phone calls I have to make. And great hearing everyone in here this morning. Perry, nice signals this morning. Charlie, I got you in there. No problem at all. And considering the weather and all, not too bad. 39 degrees here. Perry, sounds like you're getting a mix there. Maybe this changeover, it's either going to get warmer or cooler. But anyway, have a great day with your son there, and we'll see. Hopefully the sun will shine down there, and you get out, maybe do a few things, and we'll catch up with you guys a little later. It's been a real pleasure here, and not too bad at all. So with that, we'll get it over to you, Perry. 7-3's to you, Charlie. Perry, I'll listen out, finish the coffee, and then we're going to get the day rolling here.
All right, somebody calling CQ on 3880. Yep, I'm going to get out of here, too. It's funny, I think guys were switching to AM trying to QRM us, and they went back, and They literally, their whole morning has been spent trying to QRM us. And the funny thing is that they don't realize, maybe they don't realize, or they're not smart enough. Like, I'm recording. Like, you guys actively QRMing us and throwing your calls out there on sideband. I mean, like, how dumb can you be? So I'll just put this in the archive. Not a problemo. But it's so great making somebody waste their morning for the past an hour and a half to sit here and try to QRM us because they're mad because we're in the AM window. Yeah, man. Great morning, guys. Awesome morning. Charlie, take care, my friend. Glenn, you take care. Hopefully, yeah, I'm looking at the radar now. There's a little bit of a system moving through. It should be pretty quick, it looks like. And then, looks like it's coming out. They got some in Rhode Island, too, up there, boys. So you guys probably getting a little bit of this, too. Looks like it's coming into Providence now. And Warwick. There's Warwick. Catch you guys later. Up to you, Charlie. I'll be listening out. M1XZW with M1SNG W3 MMR. Standing by.
Oh, how you guys are doing this? 7-3, Glenn. Boy, this is perfect, absolute perfect timing. My fish tank lights will be coming on in about 30 seconds, and I'll be waiting for that food. So, 7-3, Glenn. 7-3, Perry. 7-3 to all you sideband listeners. Glad we could entertain you this morning. And I am also going to be clear with the frequency. You can carry on. The entertainment.
Hey, Shade, stand by one.
ZW.
He's right here on 78.
All right, guys. Catch you later. Good morning to you, Shane. Hey, guys, see, they're so mad they switched back to AM again. And now I'm hearing a guy in Ohio over top of him. Good morning, Shane. I'm about to get out of here, but I hear you. Good morning. Yeah, man. Catch you later, Shane. Not a problem. W3 MMR. Standing by.
Again is an insurance.
Okay, N8OL.
I'm gonna get Rick's call. I don't know nobody know who I am.
I wouldn't doubt that, Terry. What? You know, I was talking to Terry. I was asking Ralph if he was on his porch antenna.
Yeah, I'm on the porch antenna.
You heard from Youngblood, Terry? I sent him a few texts yesterday. I ain't talked to him. Well, I talked to him on the phone last Sunday, I think.
Yeah, I texted him the other day. He texted back for me a bit. I ain't talked to him in a while.
I invited him and Jenny come down this coming week. I don't know where they're going to at all.
You never know about them rascals.
He's a weekend warrior. If I come tomorrow, he'll be done.
What in the world was that?
Sucking noise.
Another Cormer.
So we bring in the Cormers, I guess.
You know where it's coming from.
Maybe the vacuum motor will burn up.
I think that's organic vacuum sounds.
That's a good AM signal.
trashing group. We had a ball with this crowd. Oh, look, somebody's playing a tape. Yeah, they know how to work that button, huh? Well, they just don't have any sense or smarts.
Are they playing a tape?
No, they're just playing back what we say. That's awful kind of them. I can hear great. Audio sounds good.
They're pretending to be CBers again.
Uh-huh.
No, Lord.
Saying anything. All I'm getting is the signal.
Hello. How are you?
I am fine.
Wow. It's amazing. People have, well, ever since they dropped the standards, this is what's happening, you know.
It should be landing pretty soon. It's going down.
And that's a good thing. Whoa, that sounded good.
K4 KPS.
And 8RYE.
And 8OL.
K9GD. Shaking in my boots.
I'm going to wait till after Christmas to give my call. That way I don't get drug out of the house. KJ4BJY.
Good job, guys. You just gave me all your calls, and I have you all on recording QRM and us earlier. Nice job, though, you morons.
Okay.
Good. Come on down and visit me. You
I'll see you Christmas Day, partner.
Come on down and visit me. I'll be waiting
back
on
up that threat you made earlier there, big boy.
Keep on interfering with the net that's going on. That goes on from 4 to 8. It's been here for so long, you know, and you want to come in and try to take over, but it was put in it with the AWRL with the time slot, 4 to 8 Eastern. So you go ahead and do what you think you're going to do, but, you know, if you're going to come to people's houses and just quit being a fool, you know, you're not going to do that.
Everybody in this net will file a complaint against you. Get ready for it. And if I ever see you at a house there, don't feel bad. You think you really are. KJ4BJY. That's my call. Now you got that on recording.
I'm a shorter drive, KD4, KID. Come on down. I'll let you have a little turkey at Christmas.
I'm going to give you a chance to do what you said you was going to do. I'm going to ask you to.
I'm scared.
I want you to do what you said you were going to do.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
Threaten somebody. I'll give you a chance face to face to do it. If I ever see you to fit.
All right, we'll do it face to face to try to be your friend.
They're just little children. They've never grown up. The daddy used to beat them and the mama used to stand on the street corner.
You know, the thing of it is that we started forming them now. The guy come up and threatened us verbally. So go ahead. Make a complaint, big boy. Do what you got to do.
I'm going to file a complaint today.
Okay. Well, let me know and I'll co-sign it.
He's the one that threatened.
Yes, he is.
You know, I bet Martin's got some nice places down there where things just disappear.
And he ain't the only one that's got a recorder. Trust me.
I've got some nice places here. You can bring them. They'll never be found.
Well, we'll take him to the train station. Yeah, watch them Bigfoot feed him.
Jerry, I thought you didn't watch that show. You're not supposed to know about the train station.
Kenny, I binge watched the whole thing last year. You guys are Johnny-come-latelys.
I've been watching this come out.
No, I never. I've never seen this in the 4 years I've been around, so it's on them.
Seriously though, everyone needs to get together and file a complaint. No joke.
I gotta admit, it's nice. It takes the white noise away. Hey, Ron.
Farmers, we need to do it again. About 40 years.
Ron, file it under the retirement net.
Yeah. Everybody needs to file one. All of them.
I was going to call the ARRL tomorrow because I got a couple call signs. Try this anyway. Yeah, I'm going to get my friend Jimmy Jack to come down here in the morning. He's really good at he's really good at this stuff.
Yeah, we don't need to stir the pot.
No, they'll stir it enough. They'll talk to him. The guys like that, you know, see, that's what I've been saying all along. All along. When you hear guys like that, and you still talk to them, the way the bands are our own faults. That's a good example of what I've been preaching for the last 20 years.
When you become a preacher.
Well, I'm serious. Now, see, you hear how this guy is, and then you're going to hear him again, Terry, and you're going to talk to him like there is no problem. You're not even going to mention it. Like you said, you don't talk about it. But that's the way, or the reason the bands are in the condition they are, because we put up with that stuff. You, I, everybody.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Just severe immaturity.
Absolutely. You know, and everybody says, well, it's the code. No, it's not the code. You know, it's us putting up with lit operators. People here, some people they talk to or consider them friends, and then they hear them on a different frequency, and they talk to them like it's nothing happened. The bands are a reflection of us. Hey, Gene, was that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, Gino.
Good morning.
Good morning, Gino. And they go well.
Well, good morning. Yep. I don't know. I just walked in here and all of a sudden trying to figure out what's going on. I ain't worried about it, though. It's just a lot of hash. Hi, good morning to the group. Go down. Hello, Terry. Glad to hear you. WDHLL in and out.
Hey, Sparky. Good morning to you, brother. Just be happy.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely there. All right, then. I just wanted to holler at you. Good morning. Bye-bye.
Hey, Gene.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Be happy.
Oh, you're singing me a song, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, be good. Bye-bye.
All right. It ain't our way. Take it easy, Gene. Hey, Sheldon.
Hey, Shelly.
Hey, you're under, you've got a storm warning out down yonder.